probably know about this resource. It's like a social network for people who, yeah, exactly. And it became so popular close to USSR territory that I'm not sure if those guys raised any capital, any outside capital. Probably now they're valued on more than $30 million or something.
Just make a note, it's not quite correct. They have rich parents.
Sorry?
Rich parents.
Oh, well, those are angels. So that's also, you know, a good point to create an international project here in Ukraine, but only you know, facing Russian-speaking auditory. That's also a good option.
So I mean, internationalization are closely linked with value that investors see in the company. And I know Reshma wanted us to just touch a little bit around valuations and how entrepreneurs should look at valuations of their business, particularly in the early stages. So maybe just turn to the panelists and you know, what's the right way for an entrepreneur to approach the valuation? There's often a disconnect between the entrepreneur's expectations of what his project is worth and the investor's expectations or assessment of what the project is worth. How should an entrepreneur go and approach that question? I don't think who wants to start with that. Yeah, please.
I mean, I think, you know, at the end of the day, the value of the business is what someone will pay, i.e. what they're prepared to value it at, and I think you've just got to accept that. Particularly at an early stage of the business, you know, as some of the panelists before said, frankly, your business is worth nothing. It has no revenue, it has no discounted cash flows, it has no comparables to compare it against, you can't exit. You know, it isn't worth money in that sort of true economic sense where you value a public company. So it's worth what the market, if you like, will say it's worth. So the valuation of early stage businesses is influenced by sentiment. It's influenced by other investments that have been made in the same area. It's influenced by the investment model of the investor. The investor will go into this thinking, I need to get 30% of the business, but I know I need to leave these guys with a significant chunk, and I know they need 2 million euros, and so the valuations are almost constructed from that angle. So I think at an early stage, I think you, as one of the panelists said earlier, you know, it's about setting up a partnership that works for both of you, and you shouldn't be focused on whether your pre-money valuation is 3 million euros, 10 million euros, or whatever, because it's paper, it means nothing. It means nothing until you've built a real business, and hopefully that business is worth hundreds of millions. So, you know, it doesn't matter at that point. At a later stage, when you've got a business that's generating significant revenue and profit, of course, then the whole world of company valuation, as the investment bankers will talk about, cash flows, multiples of revenue, multiples of EBIT, etc., starts to kick in, and it becomes arguably a bit more scientific, though I'm not sure it's that scientific, but a little bit more quantitative in any case.
Yeah, I agree with Peter that there's a little science in trying to put the value of the company at a very early stage. Here I would advise those of you who are going to build a company and looking for investors just to choose the proper investor and to try to assess and to evaluate what will be his value that the investor will bring into a company. Because the real value of the company will depend very much on this combination of you and your investor working together. If you have the right investor who knows how to add value to a company, who knows how to make a company a working business, who knows how to find the required management team, then this will bring value to a company. Even if at this stage you might be disappointed with those figures that he is proposing. If you are at that level, then I would suggest you might postpone this issue of valuation at a later stage altogether after you have another round of investment and there will be some validation of the real value of the company.
Yeah, I think actually Peter and Igor both give, I mean, Peter's answer is just textbook, right? I just completely agree with him. I think the only sort of the two pieces I'd underline would be from our perspective would be as an investor would be firstly that you know, this is a bit of a, to the extent that when you're meeting investors or when you're talking to people who are proposing persuaded to fund your business? This is a bit of an interview question for them you should be asking. Right? If they come to you and say, you know, what are your 10-year cash flow projections look like when you're a founding team stage? If they say, yeah, but there's no revenue line here until year 2, and if for them they're focused on trying to do a kind of metrics-adjusted valuation, to be honest, they're not the investors you want to have, because they don't really understand. I mean, this is my view, right? They're not necessarily going to, you know, if you imagine them sitting in your board meetings, are they going to be pushing you in the right direction, asking you the right questions, and leaning on you in the right way? So that's the first thing I'd say, which is you're looking, this is a qualification, you're looking for investors who understand that early stage valuations, exactly as Peter said, are really driven by cash needs times investor needs. Right? So what most early stage investors are going to be saying is they're going to be saying, I want to have this meaningful stake in order for me to kind of spend the time with you, be on your board, engage, and so on. And how much do you need? Okay, you need $100,000, you need $1 million, you need $10 million. So then that's really going to be what drives the valuation. So long as it's not crazy, right? I mean, but there's clearly some market valuation going on here, which to a great extent is your cash needs and investor needs in terms of being willing to participate in drives valuations.
I guess from the, it's a bit of a combination because I mostly see myself as an entrepreneur, but I'm also investing now, so I see it from both sides a little bit. I'd say two things, which is just emphasizing a couple things. The company that I co-founded that has been the biggest so far is an auction company. And I learned a lot from these guys that were like 60-year-old guys with a hammer in a dark room somewhere, which is that it's not about finding somebody who wants to buy or take, in this case, invest in your company. It's the second one that makes the valuation.
Right.
All you need, you can have 100 people bidding or 2 people bidding, doesn't matter. If you get 2 people at the table, that's what starts working your valuation. And these guys hate the idea of you shopping valuations, and so you don't do it in an obvious, rude, or crude fashion. You do it softly, but it is important to get 2 people interested in order to get a proper market price.
Just a minor point on that, I think, just as an aside, I think that is even more important when you come to talk about exit. That is the crucial success factor for a trade sale exit, is that there's more than one buyer. And when VCs ask you about exit strategy, a lot of it's possible, but they want to know that there's going to be more than one. But it's not the only person that can buy you is Cisco, you're not going to get investment, because it has to be multiple people, and that's really important.
I'm sorry, I've got to jump on Alex, because I completely agree from an entrepreneur's perspective, valuation is clearly the issue. Having said that, I mean, it really depends what you want, right? But it's pretty rare, I'd argue, that what you really want at a very early stage is just money. So by all means, get multiple valuations on the table and get multiple offers if you can, but also be really sensitive to what those offers really mean. These guys are going to sit on your board. They're going to be part of your business, and if all they're bringing to you is money, then by all means go for the highest valuation. But it's very rarely what you're getting. That's my only comment.
And that brings me to the second point, if I could. The other side